What is good, guys, man? Thank y'all for tuning back into the channel, man. If you're new, make sure you hit that sub button down below to be notified for every single video that I drop, man. As you can see, the lighting is not good because I'm moving and whatnot, but we're gonna get through this video. But the video says, man, that her boyfriend sold his soul to the devil to have a successful rapping career, man. He blew up as a rapper. We don't know who this rapper is, man. But without further ado, we're gonna go and get into the video, man. Make sure y'all hit that sub button if you're new. And how you know you'll be notified for every video is once you hit that bell and press all, you'll be notified, and follow the Instagram link down below in the description. Without further ado, let's go on and get into the video.
He sold his soul in order to become a successful rapper. All right, y'all. He sold his soul in order to become a successful rapper. I lead this is a story that they saying. Now this story has taken off, it's gone viral, millions of views. People are already dropping names about who they think it is. People, I don't know, people they talking about Lil Baby in the comments. They talking about a bunch of different stuff in the comments. I don't know what's going on. Let's watch the video. Let's figure out what's going on. Let's react to it together. All right, let's go.
This girl emailed me and she was like, my ex-boyfriend sold his soul or channeled a demon to become a successful rapper. So I wasn't actually going to post a lot this week because I'm actually at my mom's house. I'm in her guest bedroom, but this one's really good. So she told me that she met this guy in high school. They went to high school together. He dropped out. She graduated. And actually in high school, they weren't together because he actually had a baby with like some girl that she knew. Like they weren't really friends, but whatever. He has a baby with her. She graduates. He had dropped out to become a successful rapper and like work on his rap career. After they graduate, somehow they get together. I'm not really sure the details on that, but pretty soon after they get together, she gets kicked out of her family's house. I don't really know the details on that either, but she said it's not really relevant to the story. So she moves in pretty soon after they start dating with him, his mom, and then sometimes his daughter's there. They have virtually no money. He's working a little bit. She's working at the mall. She's going to work every day. She's trying to help him provide for his daughter, and he's working on his rap career when he's not at work. He does a song that goes semi-viral around 2020. That song got attention of a big producer who lives in Los Angeles. The producer's team reaches out to him and basically tells him, hey, we want to bring you out here. We want to like work with you. And he's all excited. He goes to her. He's like, I can't believe this is happening. She's like, you need to go, baby. They fly him out. He doesn't talk to her a lot that day, but he basically just tells her, like, I'm with these people. Like, they're super important. They're teaching me everything I need to know. But he does FaceTime her that night while he's at the studio. He calls her the next morning. He's like, hey, I'm going to be pretty busy today. I don't know how much I'm going to be able to talk to you, but like, just so you know, everything is going really, really well. I'll tell you about it when I get home. He was supposed to fly home the next day. He was only there for 2 days. So he gets home. He's all excited. He says like, he's going to continue working with these people. I don't know if there was like a contract signed or whatever, but basically he's hook, line, and sinker. He's in with them. He tells her about the producer, and then he tells her about this girl that's like the producer's assistant or like part of his team. I'm not really sure her role, but we're just going to call her Jazz for the story. And Jazz has sort of been like the point of contact that her boyfriend is working with this whole time. Like she's the one that reaches out on behalf of the producer. She's the one that makes all the travel arrangements. So the night that he gets home, after he tells her all about his trip, all about all the people, he just basically tells her, hey, I might be different for the next couple weeks because I'm in work mode. Like this is what I'm doing now. I need to take it seriously. So like, don't be offended if I'm a little bit different or if I'm a little bit distant because I'm not going to be able to dedicate as much time to you as I have in the past. She said up until that point, like they really did have a good relationship. He was a good boyfriend. He always tried to make her feel special, even though he didn't have a lot of money. He would always tell her like, I'm going to get big so that I can get us a nice house. I can get my mom a big house. Like we're going to have a really, really good life. Like you just have to believe in me. And she did believe in him. So it's a day after he gets home from his trip. She gets home from work. He's in his room doing like recording or whatever he does. She walks in the bedroom after work to like change her. He turns his to look at her and he's like, what the F are you doing? Get the F out of here. She said he had never talked to her like that. She was like taken aback. Like what's going on? It was like Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, different person. So she's like, what is your problem? She's like, don't talk to me like that. And his face softens and he's like, I'm sorry. Like I was just in the middle of something. He's like, I was just really, really into it. Like you just surprised me. That's all. And so she's like, okay. Like she lets it go because this is the first time it's ever happened. So she tries to be nice and she's like, well, show me what you're working on. Like I'm invested. I want to know. So he brings his laptop over. They're sitting on the bed. He's playing her this song that he's been working on that I guess he worked on while he was in LA with these people. And his like iMessages pops up on his computer because she said his texts were linked to his MacBook. And the text is from Jazz. Like she sees the name and the text says, let me know when you meet him and how he works for you, LOL. He X's the message out almost as soon as it pops up. Like he did not want her to see it, she felt like. So she was like, what was that? Like, meet who? And he was like, oh, just another person that they work with. Don't worry about it. So she's like, okay, let's it go. Couple weeks go by. He has another trip to go out and meet these people and work with them. She takes him to the airport. She's like, let me know when you land. He's like, I will. I love you. Bye. Gets on the plane. He lands. He doesn't text her. She checks his location. They shared locations on the phone. She sees that he landed, but she figures he's busy. He got picked up as soon as he landed. She's also going into work, so she doesn't think about it. She goes to work. She checks her phone on her break. He still has not texted her. It's been like 4 hours. So she texts him. She's like, did you make it okay? Checks his location. He's somewhere else. Not the same address that he was at the first time he was there. So she's got like 30 minutes on her break. So she looks up the address in her Apple Maps or whatever, figures out it's a house. It's a nice house. She texts him again. She's like, just call me when you have a minute. No response. A couple hours later, she gets home from work. His mom.
Was he at Diddy's house or what? No, it's not.
There. She's like, hey, have you heard from so-and-so, her ex? His mom's like, no, like, have you? And she's like, no. She's like, you should call him. So his mom calls him. He doesn't answer. The phone rings, so it's on, but he doesn't answer. So for the next 2 hours, her and her boyfriend's mom are trying to call him, but he's not answering. The phone's ringing. All the messages are being delivered. She goes like full FBI mode, and she realizes that his iCloud login is logged into his mom's iPad because his mom didn't have one. She used his account to like get games, or she used it for something. So it was logged into her iPad. So she logs into his messages. At this point in the email, she told me she doesn't care if other people think it's wrong or sneaky because you would do it too if you were in her situation. And she's able to pull up all of his text messages between him and Jazz. And she said when she first looked at the messages, she expected to find something like he was flirting with this girl or he was cheating or doing something scandalous. But actually, it wasn't the case at all. There were no flirty text messages, but the messages were like super cryptic and just didn't make any sense to her. She scrolls all the way back to when Jazz texted him, let me know when you meet him and how he works for you, LOL. To which her boyfriend responded, I did meet him. He's already here. She said she couldn't make sense of a lot of the text messages, but there were other things that stood out to her. Like one text said, don't forget to practice what we taught you. Have you practiced today? There was another text that was sent at like 7 a.m. one morning when he was home, so not in LA. And it said, did you meet with him last night? How did you sleep? And there was another text because he had sent her a song clip that he was working on. And she had responded to the song clip saying, I can hear his influence clear in this one. The two of you are doing great things together. I'll send this to so-and-so, the producer, and I can't wait to see what the three of you do. So clearly they were talking about this other person that she had no idea who they were referring to because it wasn't the producer, it wasn't her boyfriend, and
It was Diddy, man. It was Diddy.
wasn't Jazz. But he had been at home, like there was nobody else involved with this process. So she checks his location again. He's still at that same house. He doesn't respond to her that whole night. She doesn't sleep at all that night. He finally calls her around 7 in the morning. He's like, I'm so sorry, baby. Like I was working, I was learning how to do all this stuff. Like we were at the studio late. She's like, I know you weren't at the studio. Look, I can see your location. And he's like, oh yeah, like we were at his house. He tells her basically that he has another studio at his house and that they were mentoring him pretty late into the night. So he's there for a couple more days. He talked to her the whole time. She didn't get any weird vibes or anything. She picks him up a couple days later when he flies home. He gets in the car from the airport. He leans over to hug her. He pulls away. She notices like 3 burn marks on his arm. She said she would have thought it was like from like a straightener or like a curling iron, but it was like right in the middle of his forearm, like right here. She's like, what's this? He's like, oh, I scratched myself. She's like, it looks like a burn. He's like, no, I scratched myself. He brushes it off. He's like, oh my God, the biggest things are happening. Like I'm going to be able to like, get us this house. I'm going to be able to get my mom a house. Basically, he's so excited. She doesn't want to ruin his thunder. So she's just like, okay, cool. They get home. She's all excited. She thinks they're going to have like a nice night together because she hasn't seen him in a few days. And he pretty much shuts himself immediately in the room. He's like, I have to work. I have to do this stuff. He doesn't really come out the whole night. She goes in the room later to check on him, to like hang out. He's already asleep in bed, but he's like mumbling in his sleep. She tries to wake him up because she's like, I want to hang. He mumbles louder, but she said it wasn't real words. It was like not even a real language, but he was just making these noises with his mouth. She just gets in bed next to him. She tries to fall asleep, but his mumbling intensifies. She's having a hard time sleeping. She finally falls asleep. She's woken up before the sun comes up because he grabs her in his sleep and he says, you can't take her too. She wakes him up. She's like, you're dreaming. He wakes up. He's like, I'm sorry. I don't even know what I was dreaming about. They fall back asleep. At some point in the night, he wakes up again and basically tries to like force himself on her. She basically tells him, no, I'm sleeping, to which like he had a bad reaction. She said she looked at him. His eyes were fully open. Like he was awake. She's like, what are you doing? And he then like snapped out of it. And he was like, I'm sorry. I must have been dreaming. Over the next couple of weeks, his anger and his temper intensifies. He's pretty much always locked in his room working. He's constantly snapping at her, his mom, and his daughter. At one point, he yelled at his little daughter so loud that it scared her. She was crying. She ran to her to comfort her. So now she's like taking care of his daughter pretty much all the time. And then it comes time for him to go back to LA. So she's like, I want to go with you this time. He's like, okay, cool. They get to the airport. Board the plane. He brings a water bottle that he bought at the airport onto the plane. He gets up before the plane takes off to go to the bathroom. While he's in the bathroom, she takes a sip of his water. He comes back, sees that she took a drink of his water bottle, and he just like flips on her. And he's like, he didn't say that you could have any of his water. And she's like, who? This is yours. And then she said it was like a change again. Like she saw his eyes change and he was like, I'm sorry, like you can drink my water. Then she's like, okay, this person has like split personality. She lets it go. They get there. She goes to the studio with him. Everything's fine. She meets Jazz. Jazz is really, really cold to her, keeps talking to her boyfriend, but like is like very dismissive of anything that she says. She keeps making like inside jokes with him, and then she tells him after they're done that it's time for her to go back to the hotel while he comes over for mentoring. And the girl that emailed me is like, absolutely not, like I'm going with you. Her boyfriend looks torn. He's like, yeah, I'm just gonna bring her, like we'll drive separate, we're gonna go back to our hotel first and then we'll meet you guys over there. They go back to the hotel. He's trying to convince her to stay at the hotel. He's like, you really don't want to be over there while they're just giving me tips and tricks about the industry? She's like, no, I want to go. They go back and forth for a little bit. Finally, he's like, okay, you can come, but there's something I have to tell you. Every time I've been out here, we've been doing rituals. They showed me something that I can do to channel a better part of myself. And she said immediately she did not like this, red flags, because she believes in God. She doesn't think that you should be channeling anything. She tells him this. He's like, no, but like, look at my life since I've started doing it. Like everything is getting better. He said basically, I have to turn him on when I work, and that's the only way that we're going to be successful. He said, you believed in me.
Yeah, that sound much like Diddy. Hashtag Diddy in the comments, man. Look, ain't nothing funny about this, man. But look, man, I'm mad about that Diddy stuff for real. But it just don't sound good.
Then believe in me now. She goes, I don't want any part of this. She decides she's going to stay at the hotel while he goes over there. He doesn't come back to the hotel that night. He did go on to be relatively successful at music. She ended up breaking up with him because she couldn't deal with his like personality changes. She did give me the details of their breakup, and then he went on to date Jazz. If you want those other details, I can provide them, but I was running out of time, so tried to get the juicy parts of the story in this video. I don't know. I always just feel like the devil selling stories are like the creepiest ones that I get on here. So keep.
All right, I believe it because just as like the devil only has a dying offer to give you, but with
Man, oh man, that was one heck of a story. I see that YouTube plaque in the background of him. That's coming this year for me in Jesus' name. But listen, man, stuff like this goes on. As y'all seen in that, that DIDDY case, a lot of this going on, mentoring and stuff like that. Just a lot of crazy stuff. Gotta turn somebody on just to get a record deal, just to go to the top. If you got to do all that, if you got to go against your morals and stuff like that, it is not for you. You know what I'm saying? The devil will offer you something in a heartbeat. You know what I'm saying? And you'll lose it just like that. You know what I'm saying? Anything the devil gets you is temporary. So don't be desperate to get to the top so fast. Take your time, you know what I'm saying, and ask God to lead you to wherever you want to go, wherever you need to be, because it's not right to sell your soul. And first of all, our soul is not for sale. But one thing I can say is that it may feel like you selling your soul when you doing any and everything for somebody else, but they're using you. They're using you. They'll spit you out. They'll do whatever it is, you know what I'm saying, to get you to the top. And after they done with you, they'll just let you go. You know what I'm saying? You're going to be used. You're going to feel like you lost yourself, and you're going against your morals. You're not respecting yourself. You devaluing yourself. You know what I'm saying? And this is what a lot of these entertainers and people are coming out and committing the S word, you know what I'm saying, and just not loving their life the way they used to. A lot of these entertainers wish that they would have lived a normal life before getting into this entertainment industry, man. But what's in the dark will always come to the light, y'all. Wherever that glitters is not always gold. You got to understand that, man. But listen, guys, last video in this crib, man. Next time you'll see me in my place as you can hear the echo, ain't nothing going on in here right now. But I love y'all guys, man. Y'all comment down below exactly what y'all think about this video. And at the end of my videos, I always say stay inspired, stay motivated, stay grinding. Until next video, I'm out of here. Peace.